Schatz, ich freue mich auf euch.
we like to clean or do they clean? Yeah.
请各位游客远离赛道，远离赛道，谢谢合作。
And you know, in 1 minute, warning, after scale equipment for Formula number 1, 1 minute.
Season opening race weekend for the BMW IBSF Skeleton World Cup. We're in Yanqing in China in the middle of the men's competition. Women will race later on as we get into the evening here in the 2022 Beijing Olympic track. But now our 20 sleds go in reverse order of their first heat performance to decide the first medals of a new World Cup season. After the first heat, lying in a strong third place is China's Chen Wenhao. China with two athletes on the podium, and Chen, with mistakes that were right from the very start, has the opportunity to try and improve. He lies 27 hundredths off the lead. That's only 7 hundredths ahead of world champion Matt Weston, however. The Olympic champion is here as well as the world champion. And Christopher Grote here, himself a two-time world champion and a World Cup champion as well, is already at the front of the field in the silver medal position after the first of our two heats. and a scant 1/10 of a second separate him from the first round leader. And that leader is Yanqing. Yan was the bronze medalist in the 2022 Winter Games on his home ice. The only Chinese slider to finish on the podium. And a massive feather in his cap. Just a huge success at home in China as well. Became a real household name with that Olympic medal. Well, Yan leads by a 1/10 from Christopher Goat here. That's a mistake away. Chen Wenhao and Matt Weston just 700s apart. And then Jung Seung-gui of Korea in 5th, ahead of a very strong run from Mattia Gaspari. 12 past the start, but some great lines down the ice from Mattia, who went off 3rd in the first heat. So probably still benefiting a little from the new spritz. Well, in our top 20, we have 5 debutants who make their World Cup first race start here. And the ice is warming a little. It was -7.5 for the two-man bobsleigh earlier on. Jacob Salisbury making adjustments to his Team GB sled, one of 4 GB athletes. There's another one of them. Craig Thompson had kind of middling run. In fact, almost exactly middling, 10th place out of our 20 sliders. So they go in reverse order, which means that effectively, unless there are dead heats, each slider has a slender advantage, or perhaps sometimes a large one, over the athletes that have gone in front. And we will get through then to our lead group and see who wins medals. Getting ready for the second heat. Race 1 of the BMW IBSF men's skeleton competition. Chang Chun-kung of Chinese Taipei. One of our 5 debutants in the field. The 25-year-old started as a luge slider in the Youth Olympic Games in Lillehammer 2016, converted immediately then to skeleton, and has been sliding head first rather than feet first ever since. 5:15 getaway. His first start was a 5:14. Didn't compete here in the 22 Winter Games. Oh, and a couple of hits early on before he gets into corner 4. Going to rob him of vital speed. Like a number of the athletes, working very hard in effectively a single athlete program, funding himself or finding the funding for himself, as so many of the smaller nation sliders have to do. 107.4 kilometers now. Oh, but not much speed in the Chrysler. You can see the tail of the sled dropping down the ice there. So not enough to hold the high line that he had got onto. A little tidier down at the bottom than he was in the first heat. First run was a 66.14, that's a 65.07, so a full second of an improvement. And a few extra hundreds for good measure. And that's what his season is going to be all about. Every time you get on the ice, not being the best of them all, but being the best you that you can be. And that's what every single athlete from first to last in the field has to do. So little kicks with the leg from turn 2 into 3. Bit of high running there. And again, watch as he gets this big second pressure in the Chrysler, or the big third pressure in fact it is. Sled just dropping down underneath him, so his head is high and his legs are falling down the corner. I can't begin to imagine what that feels like, but yeah, didn't have enough speed to hold that pressure on the turn. Next up, debutant from Spain, Adrian Rodriguez made his World Championship debut in San Moritz. This is his first World Cup race. Cheered on by Ander Mirambel, the multi-year Spanish slider. Now he had about 3/10 in hand. and has nearly doubled that now, so again a little tidier slide. And it seems sometimes a little bit shallow to say so, but I'm sure a lot of these athletes, having come from relative quiet of Europe Cup, North America's Cup races, even the Intercontinental Cup where there's no TV, no Olympic champions, no world champions, none of the big names they're used to seeing on the TV coverage. I'm sure that first weekend, and especially the first run, is a bit of a nervous one. And this looks a lot more relaxed from Adrian Fernandez. A lot tidier, good speed, 2 kilometers an hour quicker than Chang Chung-hung, and comes across the line 63.33, 1.5 seconds quicker. Now, having come late in the race, in the first heat, the track may not have been quite as freshly spritzed as it will have been between the runs, so he's benefiting maybe a fraction from slightly better ice. Started the same time, 4:98. Look again at the Kreisel, there's the second pressure. And the centrifugal force pushes him up again, but he's able to continue with the parabola he wanted. Came out a little late and hit the wall on the outside, but that's all about those hundredths of a second, really, of judgment on timing, and that only comes with repetition and experience. There you go, big smile. Should be as well. A much better second heat for Adrian Fernandez, and he's in the leader's box as we get to Kwasi Frimpong. So Kwasi has spent a number of years competing in World Championships and also in the junior tiers, Europe Cup, North America's Cup particularly. He's based in Salt Lake City with his wife and kids, and now his first ever World Cup start. Again, that seems strange to say because we've been seeing him since, what, the World Championships in Koenigsee in 2017. So, seen a lot of Kwasi over the years, representing Ghana. Not actually his first official IBSF World Cup. That was in a 4-man bobsleigh driven by Ivo de Bruin for the Netherlands a long while ago. But as a skeleton slider and as a Ghanaian, it certainly is. In the lead by 7/10. Oh, hard hit there. That's going to leave him a bit bruised. Was 1.1 up, so the gap over Adrian Fernandez is coming down, and coming down in big chunks. Needs a good exit out of the Kreisel. Line looks good. Not too bad a hit. Only the third best speed, though. I think he is going to slip behind the Spanish slider. He should still be ahead of Chang of Chinese Taipei. Third best speed at the bottom, and across the line he is in second, 65.80. So there you go, another experience for Adrian Fernandez. Not only is there a leader's box, but he stood in it and watched somebody not quite match their first run. So 65.80 compared to 64.64 for Kwasi. But again, you can see the speed was relatively low at the bottom. It'll hit there and then high up into the woodwork, and he'll have seen that coming, I'm sure. Long toe steer, and again, toes are down, knee into the sled, left toe steering, right knee steering hard. When you see the foot coming up, the heel coming up, that's a big steer with the knee.
Thank you everyone for watching, appreciate it. First World Cup, next one will be better.
Everyone is better. So great to see a Kwasi here. Next up, Florian Auer, with brother Alex helping with the sled. Alex now taking over as the head coach of the Austrian skeleton crew. Ooh, again that right-hand groove, kicking sleds away a fraction, 5.01, so 500s quicker than he was in the first heat. Quite an experienced slider, Flo. This is his 49th World Cup start. Of course, he's competed in the other ranks as well below the World Cup, World Championships and so on, so Plenty of races under his belt, and again, a nice, tidy-looking run. Decent speed, 1:13.5. That's 3 kilometers an hour quicker than Adrian Rodriguez, the current leader, but a long sideways skid there. Still has 5 Ks up on Rodriguez. 1:24.9. That's nearly 6 Ks up on Rodriguez, and a 61.82. That's a very much improved run for Florian Auer. 63.09 becomes 61.82, and a 61.82 would have left him just out of the top 10 in the first heat. And that's how close it can be. It's not that he's suddenly become Superman or remembered how to steer, it's just that he's made a handful fewer errors. And that's the big difference. It's ironing out the errors on a consistent basis. And consistency is everything in this sport. Again, see the hands going under the hips. Little handles they use are clamped between the elbows and the rib cage. That's all that holds you on. Your thumbs go into the back of the handle, the saddle as it's called. And that's what you hang on to the sled with. And sometimes you see an athlete repositioning themselves. Well, I'm sure there's a lot of people up now watching in Austria. Probably are in Italy as well. This is our first starter of the season, Amadeo Bagnis. Amadeo started second fastest in the field, 4:71. That's a 4:73. But again, that little toe steer coming along in the right-hand groove, and again, high in 2, skidding sideways, out of 2 and down to 3. And needs a clean exit out of 4. Doesn't get it. Big steers going in there as well. So he's gone from 8100s up to a second ahead of Florian Auer. And that is so much of that start velocity still aboard. Second best speed though, kilometre an hour down on flow, and the gap will dwindle from 1 second to 9600s to 7600s. I don't think he's going to run out of track at the second half of the run. In fact, the second 3/4 of the run, not as good as it could have been. 61.75, so goodbye from the leader's box from Flo. Amadeo Bagnis moves into the lead. 5 down, 15 to go. Drops low after the first pressure in the Kreisel. Keeps it medium low from the second. And the exit hits the short wall on the inside. Really brought it down much too early there. Out of 13. Dropping down the hill and then starting to climb. Does he make contact with his left shoulder? I think he does. Well, it's a frustrating sport this, like golf. 5 down, 15 to go. Amadeo Bagnis is our race leader. Kim Ji-soo of Korea, with Jeff Payne helping out with their coaching this year. In the black coat with the red collar. Cassie Ravelli, the race director for Skeleton this weekend. Kim started 4:75 in the first heat, 4:73 in the second. Had a good run through 2. Just about evened it out on the exit of corner 2. Let's see how he's doing out of 4. That's better. Little hit going into 6 though, that's not going to help. You can hear a tap there as well, coming into 9, and then 10. Speed going away, only the 4th best speed. He was only 100th in front of Amadeo Bagnis from the start, and 2 tenths down. Not really holding his own here. Speed is there or thereabouts with Banyas, but not as quick as Florian Auer. That was a scrappy run. 62.14. Yeah, Amadeo standing there in the leader's box saying, well, I wasn't expecting that to happen. So second place at the line for Kim Ji-soo. With 14 to go. There might be a couple of random runs still to come, so he might yet end up in the top 15. And at the moment, not really where he wanted to find himself, I don't think. Didn't compete in the games here, but finished 6th on home ice in Pyeongchang in 2018 in the Winter Games. Big final pressure, huge height there, really had to drive it down hard, and nearly did what Banyas did, hitting the short wall on the inside. Two taps, 14 to 15. Yeah, he knows. Been around the block enough times. So next up, our Belgian rookie this weekend, Colin Freeling. 5.04 getaway, finds another 400s compared to his first heat. Not too high in two, gets a decent exit, but how much is he steering? I think the answer is quite a lot. Gone from just in front of Amadeo Banyas by 1800s to 4/10 back. And that's the consistency issue with younger sliders, less experienced sliders who don't have the seasons to build on. As the track changes, it's hard to adjust what you're doing to a track that you're not now familiar with. Second best speed, and his form is good. He is a long, lean athlete. Not the heaviest of sliders. 125.6, good speed at bottom. Ahead of Florian Auer, ahead of Kim Ji-soo. So good stuff. So Colin Freeling from Belgium. Been helped out a little by the British team. And the big nations tend to try and help out the smaller ones as much as they can. Of course, if you start beating them, then that tends to happen less. But World Cup debutant Colin Freeling getting a little bit of help from his British rivals, stroke colleagues, because actually it's the track that's your rival, not anybody else. It's you, yourself, the track and the stopwatch.
Bit squabbly. Thanks for watching.
Squabbly, there's a good word. I will use that. I'm stealing that right now. Say hi to Tom Johansson, who made contact between the heats. This is Rasmus, another of our rookies. So great to see Denmark in the event. In fact, he's not quite a rookie, did make one previous World Cup start in Altenburg in January of this year. And been helped out as well by the German team. 494, he'll be happy with that, ties his first start exactly. And in the green against Amadeo Banyas. But the gap has come down from 3300s when he hit the sled to 1900s. Let's see if he can keep it clean at the bottom. Both heels up there. He was working hard to try and keep it off the wall. Junior World Championship silver medalist. And raced last year in the Intercontinental Cup, which was the second tier of sliding. Finished 4th in the standings. Having a pretty good run at the moment. Again, 4th best speed, 2nd at the moment, ahead of Colin Freeling of Belgium. He's only dropping behind Amadeo Banyas, 62.43. So Senema Amadeo, 61.75 in the first heat, would have left him just outside the top 10, and he is closing in on that sort of position now with a good second run. So Rasmus Johansson looking down into turn one. You see the heels up high. Well, first of all, there's drag there, but secondly, it means that he's trying to rock the sled forward. And again, you see a lot of work going on below the hips, the legs swinging around, and that means that the sled is skidding under him.
Schade. China. See you.
Well, there he is. So second World Cup race is done for Rasmus Johansson. Now then, another of our rookies, and this is Great Britain's Jacob Salisbury. So he was the first, or the best placed of the rookies in the first heat. Matthias Guggenberger coaching the British team. Saw him helping Rasmus Johansson with the bed as well. And Colin Freeling rather. 472 getaway. 473 in the first heat. And a pretty decent exit there from corner two. Ooh, little skiddy. Okay, still in the green. But they're 5700s down to 1600s again. Coming towards the camera, not straight. Not a vast depth of experience on this track. I think he will probably find things a little bit more familiar once we start the European campaign. Maybe at the plan in 3 weeks, almost certainly in Innsbruck in a month. 1400s up on Amadeo Bañez. Good lines, decent speed. This could be enough, this really could be enough. And he does take the lead, 62.15. And you see the shrug there from Amadeo, that is the problem with one loose run that creeps in competition. If it's a two-heat race, then you're fighting with one hand tied behind your back because you're at a deficit in the second heat. You have to produce something really good. That's a good start to his World Cup campaign. 12th after the first heat, with the lead now. 11 to go for Jacob Salisbury. And again, he's definitely on the right end of the age scale for a rookie. Look at that, way up in the woodwork. Just 18 years old. A couple of decent hits there. We'll be wanting to visit the physio.
Everyone.
Good stuff. Welcome to the World Cup. So 11 sleds to go, and in 11th place, Austria's Sami Meyer. Second of the two Austrian sliders, just 800s in hand over Jacob Salisbury. And again, for a rookie making your debut here, not so much of a deficit. Let's say it was Innsbruck. Well, Sami Meyer's been sliding down there since he was, what, 14, 15, maybe? Whereas here, not so much. 496 getaway, and so immediately in the red, he's going to have to try and drive himself back up ahead of Jacob Salisbury. Little rocking and rolling on the exit of corner two. It's so difficult, corner two. Doesn't help that corner one is often a bit of an issue for the sliders as well. Out of 6, looping and swooping uphill through 7 and 8. And this is the next notifiable corner 9, 10 into the Kreisel. Second best speed behind fellow Austrian Florian Auer. So he's in the lead now over Jacob Salisbury. He's gone from 1600s back to 32 to 4900s in front. This is a big run from Sami Meyer, like Florian Auer. Having a good second heat, quicker than Colin Freeling, who was the fastest at the bottom, 61.53. Jacob Salisbury having a couple of minutes in the leader's box there. Little ripple of applause for Sami Meyer, who comes into the lead. 61.53 is the 9th fastest run of the competition so far. I don't mean in the second heat, I mean only 8 men went faster in the first heat. So that's where he would have been, inside the top 10 as opposed to knocking on the door. Now he, like Amadeo Banyas, might pick off a couple here. Banyas currently lying in 3rd, 10 down and 10 to go. Jacob Salisbury 2nd, but Sammy Meyer has the lead. Meyer with a 0.7 of a second advantage over the man in the red jacket, Jacob Salisbury. Checking out the hair in the monitor. Jacob Salisbury 2nd, Sammy Meyer the leader. 10 down here in Yanqing and 10 to go. So opportunity for the new sliders, newer sliders as well, to gain some experience, to learn by watching and to learn by doing as well, not just from their coaches, but seeing what the other sliders are doing, hearing what the other sliders are talking about. Again, the deal with sliding sports is you don't want to give them everything, your rivals, but you sort of, there is quite a lot of chat in the trucks going up and in the changing rooms and in the start area, prepping the sleds and so on. Not about specifically what you're doing with your sled or exactly what the line is, but there's quite a lot of common ground on what the difficult bits of the track are, either this year or particularly on one given day, depending on the weather or what have you. So a lot of the athletes will chat with each other, and particularly when they've come up through the ranks together, and particularly in skeleton, where a lot of people are in a very small team. See Jacob Salisbury there with Sammy Meyer. Not sure how well they knew each other before. Only 6 years difference between them, but in sliding terms that could be quite a long while. When did Sammy make his World Cup debut? January 19. Well, Jacob Salisbury would have been 14 then, so he definitely would not have been a sliding rival at that stage, or in fact probably at any stage in Jacob's career. So we are getting ready for our final 10 sleds here in Beijing. First race of the BMW IBSF Men's Skeleton World Cup were in Yanqing in China, the Beijing Olympic sliding venue from the 22 games. Craig Thompson of Great Britain, 10th after the first of our 2 heats. 1800ths of a second his advantage over current leader Sammy Meyer. Blasts out a 4.72 start, nearly a 1/10 of a second quicker than his first, and a decent exit out of corner 2. Can he go clean 3 to 4 and 4 to 5? He does. So the gap's gone up from 42 to 58 to 63 hundredths. This is the second heat he needed. Little noisy. Best speed so far in the Kreisel. Now, because he was faster than everybody that's been in the first heats, in the second heat so far, he should be quicker than them again. Holding on to his lead just about, but it's getting a little ragged down at the bottom. It's all coming at him a little bit quicker than he's been anticipating, and as he hits the wall, it's a 3800s lead, 61.33, so a top 10 finish to start the season. 61.33 is the 6th fastest run of the competition, and most of our sliders going quicker in the second heat. So drops a long way down, between the first and second and third pressures. Takes a tap on the inside wall as he comes out of the Kreisel and gets fired over to his left. Hits the wall again, out of 13, down into 14, 15. And there's the result.
Hello everyone back home, I'll see you soon. Love you all.
So Great Britain's Craig Thompson, the leader, with 9 to go. Craig in his 28th World Cup start. Yanqing of China in his 10th World Cup start. Finished 5th in the games. And he had a good start, but the run rather came unravelled. See, everybody in that right-hand groove just getting bumped a little. 4.66. Wow. That's a very quick start indeed, tying the fastest of the competition. Well, not dramatic steers, but quite a lot of body lean going on. If you look at him, he's rarely central on the sled. Again, you can see it just breaking away underneath him. Still got the top speed, still got half a second in hand over Craig Thompson. He's building his advantage, but again, out of the Kreisel. Pinball Wizard, double hits on the way out. Only the third speed. Gap is growing, but not by much. It should be enough, it will be enough to keep him inside the top 10 and in the leader's box. 60.57. And that is the fastest run of the competition so far. Well, if he can do, he's shaking his head. So if he could do that, hitting and skidding as much as he was, then there is definitely more in there to come out. But unfortunately, he has not seized opportunity with both hands here on home ice. Now watch as they come out of the groove. He got his right-hand runner in the right-hand groove, and that's what's been causing a little bit of trouble for lots of the athletes who have done that. So they're getting bounced around a bit as groove finishes. In the Kreisel, a little bit late on the height, and then drives it down and into the inside wall, hits the outside wall. But Yanqing is our race leader. So the 27-year-old in his 10th World Cup race leading. 8th place after the first heat for Vladislav Heraskevich of the Ukraine. Tiny advantage, 0.07 of a second. Literal blink of a human eye for Vlad over his rival. Now 24 years of age. Finished 18th in the games here, 12th in Pyeongchang in 2018. And Vladislav in his 47th World Cup start. 4.92, so giving away nearly 0.3 of a second to his Chinese rival. But that's a 10th quicker, 0.11 quicker than his first start, and that was good enough to get him into 8th place. Picks the shoulder up, just drifts back away from the wall there. Oh, long drift down the straight. Is the gap coming down? It's not really, is it? Second fastest speed, and that's behind leader Yanqing. Best speed at the bottom he had in the first heat. Best speed in the bottom he has now. Gap's coming down. Is it coming down fast enough? Needs to be super clean here. Let his mass accelerate him across the line. Not enough. 60.95. That is the 4th fastest run of the competition, though, and that is a big improvement from a 61.48 to a 60.95. That's a half second sliced out of his run. That's a good improvement from Vladislav Heraskevich. Say hi to Wilco. Manages to get a good straight run out of that right-hand groove. And down the hill here. Avoids the walls as well. With that, heels together, shoulders down. And with a little bit more experience on the track, he would have his head bared there as well. You'll see that bravery coming out on tracks he knows a lot better. So 7 to go. Current leader Yanqing of China. Marcus Wyatt with a slender advantage, just 800ths over him. He was only 100th ahead of Władysław Hereszkiewicz from the first heat. Marcus in World Cup race number 42, 481 getaway. Bit of height in 1 and 2, comes out clean enough. And 2100s behind, was 700s behind as he lay down on the sled. And Yin's huge starting speed, 1500s quicker than Marcus Wyatt, is going to play out in the Chinese slider's favour almost all the way down. The gap continues to grow. Only the third best speed for Marcus Wyatt. Hereszkiewicz quickest down at the bottom. British slider not quite there. Gap's coming back down, but not fast enough. Is he going to be second at the line? He should be. Yanqing is moving up, and he does. 61.01 for Marcus Wyatt. Again, 4600ths, nearly a half second better, but the big improvement was Yanqing. Probably didn't help the Chinese slider that after probably 5 or 6 weeks of pre-season training, the first actual big race was here. Yanqing made mistakes in the first heat, tidied them up in the second. Marcus Wyatt, without quite as much experience of the track to draw on, not able to match that.
Not so good.
No, but he was 16th in the Olympics here, Marcus, and currently lies in 3rd place with 6. Mattia Gaspari from Italy next up. Top 6 after the first heat, off the 12th fastest start. They had a really smooth looking run. Giovanni Molosano with the sled, helping out. Let's see what's got for us in the second heat. Again, tracks nice and true out of that right-hand groove. 494 the start. Clean enough through 1, little toe steer in 2. Those early corners so critical. And 494 compared to 466 of Yin, 3/10 slower nearly at the start. And that again, trying to catch that extra acceleration of the Chinese slider. But this is a nice looking run from Mattia Gaspari. Once more, very smooth, very relaxed, very polished. Is he going to end up in the top 6? Second best speed so far. Bringing the gap down again. I don't think it's enough. I think Yanqing will stay in front. Gaspari's got better speed at the bottom, but a couple of hits. Dropped away behind Hereszkiewicz and Wyatt to 4th place, 61.22. He'll be disappointed with that. He was 900ths ahead of Marcus Wyatt, a 10th ahead of Władysław Hereszkiewicz, and it went away at the bottom. A couple of hits there. Doesn't have the starting power that he used to when he was a younger man with a very much healthier Achilles than he had a few years ago. Look at that big hit. Totally airborne. What it takes to get, how much energy it takes to get a sled and, what, 80 kilos of athletes airborne? A lot of energy out of that sled doing that. Arsene Newton, he knows these things. Now for Korea, Jung Seung-gui, fastest starter in the competition with a 4.66 in 5th place after the first heat, and his advantage over Yin, 31 hundredths. Now, is that enough to survive? It will be if he can start gangbusters, 4.65, and if he can be clean down to the Kreisel. Legs apart, steering hard in 2. Oh, and a long skid there. 32 hundredths up to 25 hundredths to 18. He's going to be in the red by the Kreisel. Fastest start of the competition so far. Oh, 600s in it, but only the 4th best speed. Yin was quicker by 2 kilometers an hour. He's level, he's going behind though. No, he's not. 300s. Jung Seung-hui. This is a real good bottom part of the track. Has he got enough? Yin wasn't great down here. A 10th. 60.78. That's a really good recovery for Jung Seung-hui. 4.65 the start. And a 60.78. 60.57 of Yin is still the fastest hit of the competition, but not fast enough in the first heat. So Jung from a 61.24 to a 60.78, again finding nearly half a second. It does seem that the track is actually a little quicker in this second run. Lots of 4/10, 5/10 improvements. Jung in the leader's box with 4 to go. In the top 4, a world champion, an Olympic champion, and 2 hometown heroes. Here's our world champion, Matt Weston. Had a disappointing time in his first Winter Games. Fair to say, I think, finished in 15th place. 23rd World Cup skeleton start from Matt Weston. 4.75, that's a decent getaway. Ooh, big height in 2, and that's the end of that. Height early in 1, and exit into 2 was just not what he needed. Right up in the woodwork, slammed into the sidewall on the way down to 3. And the speed has gone from 900s up. I was going to say he'll be lucky if he finishes within a second of the leader. He might be lucky if he finishes within a second and a half of the leader. The speed has gone way away. 1.2 back. Not sure that Matt Weston is going to be super keen to come back to this track. 1.3 seconds back, 6.2.26. And again, talked about right from the beginning of the day how critical corner 2 can be. I remember talking to Francesco Frugic after the pre-Olympic test, and he was saying they need an off-ramp off corner 2, so that if you get it wrong, you can just pull off and walk away. Well, here we go. This is 2, gets the height up in the woodwork, gets cannoned down, second pressure grabs him, throws him up the wall as it's ending, and boom. Yep. Coach Matthias Guggenberger knows how that feels. Helmet still on as he walks away. Racing fans know exactly what that means. 3 to go. 2 Chinese athletes, 1 Olympic champion who's not Chinese, who's coming out on top of this little bun fight. Current leader is Korea's Jung Seung-hui. Jung finished 10th in the games. Chen Wen-hao, 3rd after the first of our 2 heats. Let's see what he's got. 474, that's in the ballpark, that'll do. And clean out of 2, that's where Matt Weston wanted to be. Big leg spread moment to tidy up 3 into 4. Should be enough. He had a quarter of a second over Jung, and 10th of that went away in the start, and he's lost nearly another 10th. Just 14 hundredths up, third best speed. This is going to be close, maybe single digits, best speed of all. Hang on a minute, here we go. Now he's doubled his advantage from 14 to 27 hundredths. But where's the speed? Ooh, and again, legs akimbo in final corner, 60.65. He's in the medals. Magic signals with a thumbs up. Zhong Seung-hui in second, Yanqing of China in third. But it is Chen Wenhao who leads. Chen in his 13th World Cup race. 2 World Championships. He has had a medal before, took a bronze in Innsbruck in the spring. Now, can he do it on home ice as well? Well, the answer is yes, he can. He's got at least a bronze in his pocket. 4 more minutes, he'll know whether it stays bronze. 2 more minutes, he'll know whether maybe he gets upgraded to silver. A lot of work going on the run, not the tidiest. But he takes the lead from Jung. Here's our Olympic champion, Christopher Groothaer, 2-time world champion and last year's World Cup champion in men's skeleton as well, ahead of Matt Weston and Marcus Wyatt. At the end of a fantastically close season. Don't forget, it was Groothaer who stood on top of the Olympic podium here, with Axel Junk alongside him. Axel not here this weekend. And Yan Wengang, who will be last to go, was the bronze medalist then. Groothaer needs to be neat and tidy, as clean as a whistle, to pile the pressure on the final slider. 482 gave away nearly a 10th in pace at the start to Chen Wenhao. But he's opening the advantage back up from 500 out to 1400s. This is Christopher Groothaer looking super smooth. Shooting for victory, 2500s up. Leaving Chen Wenhao a bit breathless in his wake. Chen will get a medal, but it won't be gold. Will it be potentially silver? Let's see what happens in another sled. Groothaer still tidy at the bottom. Best speed of all, 130.7, 60.39. Well, still nearly 4 tenths off the track record set in the Olympics by himself. And that was a bit so-so. You saw the hand gesture, but I wonder if that's enough. I think it might be. It's certainly enough to pile the pressure on Yan Wengang. Christopher Groothaer finding 42 hundredths of a second in the second heat. Now, we have seen bigger improvements, but it's hard to make big improvements if you're right at the top, if your first run was good. And his first run was. Interesting. Olympic champion or hometown hero. Yan Wengang, the bronze medalist, Beijing 2022. What's he going to do here, the 26-year-old? It's his 26th World Cup start. Has never had a World Cup medal. Career best in World Cup races, 5th in Winterberg in January this year. This for gold on home ice. What's he got at the start? 478. Good stuff. Big height in 1. Ooh, steers hard in 2. Little late exit there. Gone from 14 to 1800s up on Christopher Grote here. Had a 10th lead at the start, but he's very wild. It's going away. This is not looking neat and controlled. He needs to steer the ship in a hurry. In the red, behind Grote here. That's the pressure of Grote here laying down an absolutely nearly flawless run. 6th best speed at the Kreisel. He's paddling away. Will it be enough to stay in front of Chen? Will he even be the top Chinese slider? The first heat leader is not going to win this. 7th best speed. Is he going to take silver or is he going to take bronze? It's bronze. Chen gets silver and the Olympic champion takes the gold. .97. 2800s, 2600s slower than his first heat. That's the pressure of never having won a top-tier race, of not having that World Cup success under your belt, and having a man who won the Olympic Games lay down a smoker. It was untidy right from curve 1, and try as he might, he could not get ahead of the sled. And again there, look at that, both heels out to the right, just still driving away from the wall. Just a little bit of oversteering. He's in the medals. It's his first ever World Cup medal. Yang Wengang takes the bronze. Chen Wenhao takes the silver, his best ever World Cup result. But it is victory in Beijing again for Christopher Grote here. His 5th World Cup victory and his 2nd win in Beijing. The first was the Olympic gold 2022. So Christopher Grote here is now wearing the yellow vest of the World Cup leader because he is the World Cup leader. He's won the season opener from Chen Wenhao and Yan Wengang. Zheng Xiongui ahead of Yanqing. So 3 Chinese sliders in the top 5. Vladislav Heraskevich, 6th position. Fantastic result for him. Career equaling best result. Jacob Salisbury, top rookie, 12th place. Good to see 5 new names in the World Cup field here, and we will see a much bigger field once we get into Europe, where a whole host of others will join us. No US sliders here, they're in North America at the moment. I'm sure they will join us as well, but Christopher Grote here is our gold medal winner. He knew what it took, didn't he? He just had to be neat, tidy, and about as fast as he had been in the first heat. He found an improvement of nearly 4/10, and Yang Wengang could not match it. So Chen Wenhao takes the silver, Yan takes the bronze, but again, 2 Chinese sliders in the top 5 of the World Cup rankings. I wonder how long that will continue. Congratulations to our podium finishers, our medalists, and congratulations to those who are making their World Cup debut, as well as those who have also had a career best result here. PBs are what it's all about. So that's it from the men's skeleton World Cup opener, but this Friday continues with the women's race. That will be up at 1800 local, 10 GMT, 0500 Eastern. Wherever you are, join us for that. Until then, from the IBSF TV crew in Beijing, Martin Haven saying thank you for joining us. We'll see you at 6 p.m, 10 Greenwich Mean Time. Wherever you are, join us for the women's skeleton season opener.